So, goal of today's event is to give you tools, practices, experiences, and experiments, and theory for using in the daily life. This event comes from a question that comes spontaneous every time when we hear talking about inner work, spiritual work. We hear talking about this all the time. But what does it mean, inner work, or doing the spiritual work? I have to do the work on myself. And in concrete, what can we really do? So most of you already have probably your methods. There are many, millions all around. There are many traditions, cultures, religions, psychological tools. Anyway, I tried to condense many of the information that I know and that I use since at least 8 years. And that gave me results. So everything I'm going to share with you is because I already tested it and I did experience with that and it worked. So why alchemical, first of all? I really love this image because it shows a man that got access to the other side of the veil. And what is this veil? Anyway, this would require another event to talk about what actually is what we call truth, where is the truth, and what is real, what is not. But anyway, in few words, let's say that we are living in a sort of school. I like to see this vision of this planet Earth and this level of consciousness. It's like we are living in a school, and where we are not supposed to. We were not supposed to come here to live a fluffy life with pleasures and just enjoy and having drinks and partying. This is part of the school, but the school is not only that. The school is mainly learning, and the more you learn, the more you will see that actually there are things behind what we call reality. And this is what I want to share with you. Instead of telling you what is behind the veil, I will share as I can what you can do to see it by yourself, because truth cannot be said from the outside. I can tell you whatever I want. I can tell you all the experiences that I had, but then you can believe it or not, but it will never be your truth. And that truth will not be yours, and it will just be fate. We don't need any more fate. We need to see with our eyes. So anyway, let's start this leader journey together. And first of all, let's say, who are the alchemists? What is alchemy? Alchemy. Okay. The main person, a character of alchemy is Hermes Trismegisto. He was this legendary man from Egypt, and is the one who talks about what is above, as above, so below, that the macrocosmo is equal to the microcosmo. So with this law, actually, we can read all the secret of universe. But we will talk about this another time. Alchemy is usually known as a method to transform metals, raw metals, into something more precious, like usually lead into gold. And other things that are connected to alchemy, it's like looking for the philosophical stone, immortality, omniscience, and omniscience, and as I said, transforming metals into gold. As you can see, I'm directly inside the presentation, because a very good friend of mine said that looking just at the presentation, it's boring. So I said, I will just put myself inside. And I hopefully that this will give you a little bit more fun. I know how boring can be to stay on the other side. So, and Alchemist created a method called opera magna, opus magnus, I think was in Latin, linked to three steps. Actually, there were more than three, but these are the three main steps: nigredo, albedo, and rubedo. I won't go too much into details, but anyway, as you can see here from the image, nigredo, it's the moment of, in Latin is putrefactio, putrefazione in Italian, I think rotting in English. It's where things decompose completely. And then the second step is albedo, which is connected to the purification of things. And then we have rubedo, or red work, which is the stage where things are recomposed. And so why Alchemical Journal? Alchemical Journal, because these three steps, it's what are needed and we can do every day to transform our habits in something better. Probably it's only my problem, but I'm doing this event because I struggle every day to get rid of my negative habits. And I have many negative habits. I got rid of many of that, but every time there are always new. For example, checking the phone every 10 minutes, sometimes even less, or sometimes I can do better than that. And so maybe some of you as well has some issues with bad habits, but and Alchemist actually gave us a very good method, which is the one that you can see here in the picture. And I will tell you a bit more how it works. So the first thing is the first step in every kind of evolution and improvement is awareness. So without awareness, there cannot be a change. But once you you spot the behavior, the habit that you want to change, then you must transform it. You cannot destroy any matter, you can only transform it. So that's what the first thing you do. It's anyway, you spot the bad habit, and then you find an alternative, and then you make it action. This is actually the explanation of these three steps. And alchemists were transforming gold into lead into gold. What does it mean? It wasn't really about materials that are transformed. Actually, it was more a symbolical, a philosophical explanation of what we can do on our daily life. I put here a nice picture of a tree where there are roots, there is a higher part with fruits, and there is a little funny friend, a poo, let's say a cacca in Italian. Why is that? I said that life is a school. So we cannot expect that is everything fine and pleasant every day. So every day we receive some sort of challenge. It can be external challenge from our family, friends, partners, work, colleagues, but also inner challenge, like we are mainly our worst enemies usually, and ourselves are the biggest, let's say, challenge. And what an alchemy does, I said it transforms. What does it mean, transforms? First of all, it takes every material as something good, as every raw material as a starting point to transform everything into something precious. And I put this image because actually a tree is also a good symbol, a good analogy of what actually we have to do, we can do every day. A tree, if you throw everything into on the soil, it will take time. Even a nuclear waste, you can throw, if you have any nuclear waste at home, I'm sure some of you have, you can throw it. It will take years, but the soil, the earth will transform it. And this is a very good lesson that earth give us. The first step, the very important, the fundamental point for spiritual development, spiritual evolution, or personal human evolution is taking the responsibility. As long as we project the responsibility into others, into external events, we want to really improve. We won't improve as much as we could. The moment I think, and as in my experience, that the moment I started to move the fingers that before was pointing outside, I pointed the fingers to myself without judgment, without criticizing, but I just said, okay, I cannot change external things. I can only change the way I reacted to things. So let's change inside. I cannot change external things, so why should I waste time complaining or bothering, annoying other things? So the only thing I can do is using and transforming this stuff. And here I put on the right side a sort of scheme that actually it's a sort of representation of our spiritual body and physical body. Actually, there are all our a map of our being, which means on the lower part we can see where there are the roots, and you can see we have a mental body, astral body or emotional body, and the physical body. And on the other side you can see intellect, heart, and will. This is the what we call the personality. We can say that this part, it's linked to our selfish part, where we use our mind for selfish purpose, where we use our heart for selfish purpose, or actually we react in this case. We talk not so much about love in this part, but because love is about giving and not expecting anything back. This is the unconditional love that we will see it outside, upstairs, above, in the Buddhic body. In this part, it's more about, I want to be loved, I need to be loved, I must be loved. And if I'm not loved, I won't feel good, I will feel sad. So this is the lower part, it's the egoistic side of the heart. And then we have the physical body, linked to all the basic instincts that we can have. So usually when we receive let's say the pull from the outside, what is the pull from the outside? For example, it can be a colleague or a boss that is treating you bad. It can be your child, if you have children, that is keeping screaming and or is I don't know, annoying with very silly things, or it can be your dog barking all the time. It can be whatever. There are many occasions of annoyment. Let's say sort of annoying factor from the outside. This is the poo coming in close to me. So what I can do, or I try to push it away, but then I will dirty my hands. Sorry for the analogy. Maybe I could choose a better one. But anyway, I hope it gives it sends really the message. Other thing I can do, okay, I can not touch it, I can use it, and I can transform it into, how do you say, conchimenita, into nurture for my tree. It means a boss that I can use an example. For example, yesterday I jumped into a conversation on Facebook of a friend where there were arguments about some topics, you know, vax, no vax, and so on. And there was something that was annoying me. So how could I react? The wrong way would have been for me, I just feel bad, I just feel annoyed, and I will just react writing something bad. Another good thing that I can do, which is something what I did. Actually, I wrote something bad because it was full moon and I could control better my my emotions. But anyway, then after I did what I did, I started to reflect and analyze, and I asked myself, okay, what triggered in me this kind of emotion first? So I started to use this poo that first attacked my emotional body, like I felt a little bit stressed and annoyed. So I said, okay, if I still stressed and annoyed, there is something missing. Okay, probably there is a lack of empathy because I'm not understanding the other person's points of view. So what else? If I'm feeling still a little bit stressed, it means that I'm still not stable in my emotion. Third, if this person is still reacting on what I wrote, it's probably because my communication, so my mental body, can be improved. My way of communicating can be improved. So I did all this self-analysis, and then thanks to this, it's a very easy, silly example, but thanks to this poo that came from the outside, if I can, with all the respect, I can call it poo, then I went back to myself, and I found out a lot of gold that I can get out of that situation. So this means transforming the lead into gold. And actually what I said, okay, emotion that from here were annoyment from the astral body were transformed into something in the Buddhic body, which is the unconditional love. So like I should respect, I should have more empathy for the other person. Instead of feeling anger, I could feel empathy, understanding. And if I could understand better this person, I probably could communicate better. And instead of creating conflict, so instead of using my mental body, I would have gone up above where there is my generous mental side. And probably my communication would have been better in a way that I could even help the other person instead of attacking. Anyway, this is just an example of how to use alchemy. There's a lot of stuff I'm going to share with you, and actually practical tools, because every day I write down something like this. Maybe it's too much for some of you, maybe it's not enough, but anyway, I will share a lot of things, and then you do whatever you want. You will pick up what it's better for you. And what we are going to talk about, actually, it's a sort of a self-daily introspection, which is really the basic of development. I don't know if some of you work for a company that produce products or even services. Mr. Toyota, 30 years ago, created a management tool called Total Quality Management, which is based on a continuous improvement of product. There is like checked, it's a sort of analysis of the wastes that there are in the production and all the errors that there are in the production and the improvement areas. And so every day there is a sort of analysis of what can be done better. So if this sounds obvious for a company that produces services, it's really strange that we don't think about something similar for ourselves. We keep working, running in a direction that most of the time we don't even know. And we never stop to do this sort of self-assessment and say, okay, wait, let me see a second. Okay, where am I going? And am I using all my potential? Am I do I have any improvement area and what I can do to improve that? So this is something, it's like we keep living day by day. Probably not you, but in general, many people, I used to do that before. We keep walking and running, but without stopping and thinking like, how can I improve my life? Without thinking that this sort of self-analysis will improve the quality of my life. Because the moment again, we cannot change the external world, but the moment I improve, I strengthen myself, my life will get easier. People think that when things will change outside, they will feel better. I have to tell you something you probably already know. You can't have a better life. You can't if you don't better yourself inside. So again, the first a word to tattoo on our forearm, if you prefer also the shoulder, it's responsibility. For me, it's one of the main words. I take the responsibility. I'm the only responsible of my emotions, the quality of my emotions. I'm the only one, whatever happens, whatever happens. And because there are many factors. If I find myself in a challenging situation, it's probably because of karma or because there is something I have to learn, even the worst thing. So I can always learn something. So again, and if you probably you tried already in your life, I tried myself to change external factors. Like I went even till Australia to find a better life. I changed partners. I changed many jobs. At the end, to find the same results. Till at one point I stopped and I said, okay, there is a pattern that it sounds a little bit strange. There is something I'm doing wrong. And so that was the point where I started to be interested in coaching, the self-development, because I understood that this is the only thing I can do. And again, I like the image of a sheep, not a sheep, a sheep where we're going to face the ocean. There will be storms. We cannot stop storms. The only thing we can do is to improve the quality of the ship, and mentoring and counseling and teaching the sailors to work better and to be a good captain. So this is what we can do, definitely. I put here this image. It's a Sephirotic tree, or the tree of lies from Kabbalah. One day we're going more in detail to talk about this tool. It's a fantastic tool. But just to show you, do you see that little point is this one? This is called Yesod, and actually it's connected to the moon. I'm not going through this, but actually this is Malkut, is the Earth, the planet Earth. This is the level of consciousness where we are. And this is the first spiritual kingdom. And then we have all the higher spiritual realms. And this one is the gate to the other side of the veil, as we saw in the first image. And that gate is linked to purity. And for me, responsibility is one word, then purity is the other word. And purity, what does it mean, purity? Is perfection. Of course, we're not going to be perfect, not in this life, and not in many, probably thousands, millions, probably lives. But if we keep this word in our mind, in our heart, we can really have great achievements. And the only key to open this door again is this kind of purity that is the result of self-development, this self-analysis, and then taking action after that self-analysis. And this is the only way you can access to the other side and see with your eyes the truth. You can, I sometimes know there are many people who say that are talking to angels, archangels, and so on and so on. Sometimes I doubt that they can see these kind of things. I doubt when I see people that are not pure, but I'm going to talk in detail what does it mean pure, because actually this Sephiroth, there is also another version with the Qliphoth, so you can also connect it to other lower entities, but I'm not going to talk about those entities now. But just to say that the moment we every day we do efforts to improve ourselves, we will get access into this world here. It's I wrote a very I know this is a sort of manipulation, but I wanted to share it anyway, because sometimes I do it for myself. I sometimes I'm lazy. Sometimes it's we live in the matter. We live in a material world, and material matter is very dense, and dense matter has a tendency to drown us, to take us down. And so I really need some sort of trigger and push to do the work. Sometimes I'm lazy, and I don't want to do a self-analysis. I don't want to change things, or sometimes I'm hard to change my behaviors. So these words that I wrote here, it's like a negative, not negative, but a negative leverage that that I use to challenge myself, to trigger myself to take the action. So if I don't have time for the light, then I have time for the darkness. If I don't have time for my health, then I have time for sickness. And I will move myself a little bit. If you don't look for God, God will look for you. This is a very bad one. I'm sorry, but you can call it not God, you can call it the universe. But anyway, this is, I don't do it because I'm afraid. I don't do a spiritual work, a spiritual alchemical work every day because I'm afraid. Sometimes I need also to be afraid to move my bum. So that's why I put these things. But actually, it's true. I sometimes people ask my help and my suggestions for several questions. It can be disease, it can be emotional stress, trauma, but then they don't want to do the work. So how can I help? You have to help yourself. You have to understand that there is a law in the universe where if you cannot eliminate energy from this world. It will always be a balance of things. So if I drink water, there will be less water in this bottle. So it means that if I'm not using my time for something good, probably there is something else will come. So the question is, am I using my time wisely? Anyway, I'm going now to share more in details some practical tools to do the work. But first of all, we need to find the motivation. Okay, this is the negative motivation. So for example, I will go to gym or I will exercise at home because I'm fat. But I can do it also because I want to feel better and because I want to feel better also when I look myself in the mirror, for example. And but the best main trigger we can use is high ideal. It's been proven scientifically that when we do things for the others, we are actually, okay, most of the people, we do things better and we are more motivated. Like probably if you have to give a suggestion to yourself, you're not as good as if you had to give suggestion to your friends. Would you agree with that? So it's I give this example to say that finding a high ideal will move our heart, and then it will be the heart who will help us to take the action and transform all this theory that we know, the spiritual or psychological coaching, the self-development theories into action. And high ideal is the best tool we can have to improve. If you wake up every day, every morning, within your mind a high ideal, and I share with you mine, like my high ideal is I want to improve myself as much as I can, so that one day I can be able to help also the others. And so I will contribute to a better society and a better humanity. So I will also be happy. So, and I wake up every day with this idea. So if I'm lazy one day and I don't want to wake up, I will just remember, okay, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your others. Remember that if you don't do what you have to do today, if you are not going to study today, if you're not going to read today, if you're not going to prepare a presentation today, probably you will waste your time and you want to be useful nor for you and neither for the others. So this is the first thing. Take note, find your own high ideal. And the higher it is, the better it is. So like, I want to improve myself because I want to save the world, which actually is the only way we can save the world, to improve ourselves. That's it. If everybody looks at his own garden, at his own self, we don't have any more wars, we don't have any more conflicts. Here, in the next slides, I hope you can see them, I wrote some practical information taken from the Gospels. I used to talk often, to use often the Gospels, not because I'm a bigot Catholic. I actually don't define myself as a Catholic. I'm more syncretist, like I believe in the truth of many religions. But in my opinion, in the Gospels, even though you can believe in or not on the existence of Jesus, the Gospels contain great psychological and spiritual information. So Jesus could not exist, doesn't matter, but those who wrote the Gospels exist, and the Gospels do exist. And personally, I do believe about Jesus, but anyway, this is another story. And I think that Matthew 6, you will find all the spirit, everything spiritual you need, it's written there. And I see that many so-called spiritualists don't know about this, and that's why they probably won't have the results they expect. And for me, this is the guideline, and this is the key to have access on the other side of the veil. So before going into detail of the alchemical journey, this is something to keep in mind. So first of all, don't show off your spirituality. This is the first thing. I see many people taking a picture of themselves meditating, praying, and this is the rule number one. Don't. It's written here, not to practice your rightness in front of people. Or like I saw people on video or people helping the others just to take in the video or getting some like. So this is the first thing to not do it, because then you are going to, it's not pure, as I said in the beginning. And actually in this, many people, it's very famous, it's very common to talk about the law of attraction, but the real law of attraction, it's written in these words. And okay, here it's written as a suggestion to go and pray in your private room, which is what we're going to see, like to stop and do this self-analysis. And then our secret room can be also within ourselves, and we can connect to the higher self. You can call it God or whatever. And then another important thing, don't worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink. Again, don't be concerned too much about external things. Here there is this analogy, like look at the birds. They don't sow or reap, and they still have food. How come? And why are you worried about clothing? Observe how the lilies of the field grow. They do not toil, nor do they spin. And if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is going to be burnt, is he not giving something for us, people of little faith? And don't worry with what we will eat, we will drink, or for clothing. And this is the key of even if you're not Christian, you're Buddhist. I explained this stuff also in Singapore, where there were many Hinduist people and Muslim as well, and they all agreed on this point. This is the true law of attraction. Seek for the kingdom of God. It doesn't mean outside. Look inside. It means look for the kingdom of God and his righteousness within yourself. And then you will have all the rest. All the you will get material help. You will get non-material things, like, for example, people looking for the best partner, or looking for perfect situations outside. The moment you change inside, it's like you're changing your vibration. And there is a law of the universe. One of them is called the law of resonance, that makes that works in a way that the moment we change our vibrations, everything will fix accordingly. And this is the key. And also, materially talking, I have many proofs in my life. I really experienced this. Like, I don't worry too much for really for tomorrow. Some people can say, like, oh, you're not really responsible. But actually, I do. I am very responsible, because I take care every day. I give quality to every day I'm going to live. Because what is the future? The future is the consequence of the decisions and actions I'm taking today. That's it. So I do have a direction in the long term. I do have objectives, but then my focus is 99% on the day. And I know that the better I will be on the emotional side, on the mental side, on the physical side, and with my willpower. If I use my time wisely, then tomorrow will be a consequence of what I've done today. And that is a miracle. I can share really a lot of experiences, even materially talking. I got money, I got things that I could never expect, help really from the other side. But just because it's not that I'm perfect. No. I'm very far, and probably I'm the worst here in this group. But what I see, and I can really tell you that this works, is that from the other side of the veil, the universe, the angels, however you want to call them, they really appreciate the effort. The effort is the key. So I still do many mistakes, and actually some of them are like reoccurring mistakes. But every day I'm doing my best to improve that. And it seems like sometimes when I receive some sort of blessings, and I receive many, I ask, but are you really sure why do I receive this, or money? Or money, it's the easiest things that I can say. It's more tangible to explain. So sometimes I ask, but why are you giving this to me? Like even finding a lot of money on the street, this is something that happens to me sometimes for specific purposes. And I ask why. And it's because from the other side, there is something or someone who really loves us. And as a good father, instead of punishing us when we do mistake, they keep believing in us. And they really go to underline the effort and the goodwill rather than underlining the punishment. And this, for those of you who have children, this is fundamental. We always tend to underline the error and the mistake instead of underlining the good things and the efforts. Like, for example, today I am now with my family, and I forgot one little thing in the bathroom. And then I was recalled saying, "Oh, Lorenzo, you left something in the toilet." I said, "I'm sorry, I really apologize." But then all the rest that I did, like helping cleaning, taking care of children, and a lot of stuff was never mentioned. So, for example, okay, I know how it works, so I don't take it personal. But just that this is an example how we tend really to see the small mistake, and not only outside, inside especially, inside. So the Alchemical Journal we're going to see now is not about taking a whip every day and putting silicium on the socks and insulting ourselves every day. It's not going to, it's not about going to pointing the how bad we are. No, 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 no. As, imagine for a company, this is so obvious. Usually in management, I don't know if some of you is a manager. I have been a manager for years, and you don't criticize and whip people. I know there are companies who do it, but fortunately not mine. But we were just seeing the process very objectively and seeing, okay, what is wrong? How can we do things better? If a product is coming out bad, you don't say, okay, no, we stop everything and you start to cry. No, no, you say, okay, how can I do things better? That's it. And this is what I suggested to do every day. Okay, let's start. First tool. Many people will say that there are habits that are really, really hard to take away. And I know how hard can be. I can say completely, not completed, but I was very, very different some years ago. And I could never expect to change so much. Sometimes people say like, "Oh, Lorenzo, you look very calm. How can you be so calm all the time?" They don't know that actually I wasn't like that before. And I still have this energy inside. But now, as I showed in the beginning, I'm using this energy for determination, for braveness, for action, instead of anger, for example, or aggressivity. Sometimes I still have aggressivity, but I'm doing the effort to transform it every day. And if I don't manage at the time, because what happens at the school, it's easy in theory, but the thing is that the pull from the outside comes all of a sudden, and then you are most of the time, you are not ready. So it's like really training every day. So then at one point, you will not just react. You will be like a kung fu fighter. Instead of taking the punch, you will just move it and use that energy for yourself. And one thing helped me really at one point of my life. It was what is called the alchemical jointing or graft. In Italian is innesto. I show some picture to explain myself better. Innesto or graft is when you have a tree that doesn't give good fruits or doesn't give fruits at all or is almost dead. And you take another piece of a tree, a good one that makes fruit, and then you joint it on it. What does it mean? For example, what I'm saying is known in the esoterical literature And I was surprised when I read about this. I read it in a book called the Essential Key by Omar Mikhail Ivanov, who is my inspiration and master. And in this book was written, I know that I've told you many times that you should do the effort to improve yourself, but I'm sorry, you won't be able to do it most of the time. And I said, oh, what's going on? I read all the books before, and now you're telling me that all the efforts I did are not going to work. And actually, then I kept reading and saying, and discovered that in the first 7 years of our life, especially in the childhood, we are sort of a sponge. We take all the things that we see, that we feel, that we think about and from our parents. And those things are recorded deeply in the subconscious. And that is, in psychology, I just studied, I forgot the name, but anyway, it's a sort that recording is guiding our life till our elder age. And many of those recordings, okay, there are fortunately awfully good recordings as well, but there are some where negative patterns we have seen from our parents or the people that were closer to us when we were children. And it's very, very hard to get rid of those habits. I know because I had many, and I still have others. And till I found this fantastic alchemical trick. And what is about? The moment. Okay, graft from what? If you believe that there are external forces like angels, entities of light, masters, or cosmic intelligence, call it however you want, that can manifest through you and guide and inspire you, magically, it's like you're not alone against these bad habits. I explain myself better. For example, I used to react if there is a dog barking all the time, which is mine, for example. I have a dog, and it's really bothering me, and it's really making me feel, how can I say, aggressive. Not that aggressive, but it's really annoys me. And how can I? It's just a dog, and it's supposed to bark. It's fine, but why do I still feel bad, like this bad sensation within me? It's probably because when I was a child, I was annoying my father, and I also interviewed my mother to know more about that. Anyway, so probably within me, there is something that's saying, okay, if something is crying, barking, or making noise, it's going to annoy you. Recording. Okay. So what I ask, it's a sort of prayer you can do, or also visualization, imagination. I ask, please, entities of light. I'm now doing a very easy example because I'm talking about a dog, and but there are many people who can annoy you, for example. So I will ask, please, take control over me, use me, so I can be a better example for the others and help as many people as possible. Please help me to be the best example I can for the others. And the moment you believe that something incredibly wise and lawful and with a lot of willpower takes control on you, even if it doesn't exist, but if you believe it, then it becomes your truth and you're really going to change. This is a technique that then I found out that is being used also for very, very strong habits like addictions, like drug or alcohol addiction. This is part of the 12 steps for the anonymous alcoholic. They believe that external divine forces are going to help them. But this is something that is more ancient. It comes from the esoteric knowledge of the past masters. So I hope I explained myself better. So if in your prayers you ask to higher forces, angel, God, to help you to go through this challenge and taking the control over you. So for example, before an event, in the beginning especially, like I don't even know that good English to be able to speak in front of a public. Now, okay, we are few of us, but before I was doing events in front of more people. And especially in the beginning, my level of English wasn't that much. And also I didn't prepare things in advance. And I just believed that something else could guide me and help me and give me the correct words to explain myself and to be as much useful as I could. And so far, I didn't get any fruit, major fruit in my face. And I had, I don't say many people, but there are many people I know here still in this group. So probably I did something good. Anyway, I'm not the best example, but for those of you who know me, there is my sister on the other side of the screen. She knows me, and she's one of the witness of my change. So just to say it, that this stuff really works. Anyway, let's go more into details and what we can do in our journal. So first of all, again, as a company does this self-assessment, self-analysis every day, we can do it. The first thing, as a sales manager, the first thing, this is so obvious. The first thing in the morning was to turn on the computer and start to see the forecast of sales. How can you improve sales if you don't know what you are selling, where you are selling, how much, which percentage, whatever? So you need to have a KPI, and without KPI, you can. I don't know if some of you work in companies, but anyway, KPI is a key. What's a KPI? Performance indicator. So it's like an indicator of how you're performing. But this is normal for a business, for a company. So this should be normal for this is something should be taught at school. Like how can nobody tells us how our brain works, our emotions work. We are just taught to learn by heart things that most of the time we don't need. We will need something more like how can I improve myself every day, having a sort of if you to a child say, okay, my friend, okay, my little child, your future, it's all up to you. You are responsible for everything. Okay, don't say it when he's very young, otherwise he will run away. But if when we were children or adolescents, we were given tools like, okay, there are 3 leverages that you can work on. And according to the way you will use these 3 things, you will have a better life or not, a good life or a mediocre life. And these 3 things are the mental body, the intelligence, the willpower, and love. There are many other factors we could take in consideration, but let's make it simple, because then when we are going to do our fantastic journal, and actually this is an example journal, but I hope you bought some new fantastic journal for your new year coming. Then I can tell you also where to buy it. It's very cheap and there are 500 pages. This is the salesman in me that is likes to sell stuff. Anyway, the simpler, the better, because otherwise then we get bored to do this work every day. So it's important to have a clear purpose. Why are we going to do this? because we want to have results, because we want to have a better quality of life, because we want to access the other side of the veil, because I want to be a best example, a better example for the others, because I want to help others, because I want to contribute to bring here the kingdom of God and this justice, because I want to have a fantastic life with a great purpose. So these are the three factors that we can take in consideration. What I do in my fantastic agenda every night before going to sleep, and it's doing a little meditation. I hope that you do meditation. Otherwise, one day we can go and talk more in detail about meditation. But quickly, I can say, let me see the time. Otherwise, okay. Meditation don't have to be something incredibly strange or with a strange position. It's about what I do. It's just closing the eyes, never lay down on the bed. It's just like I'm sitting down and I'm closing my eyes, breathing deeply. And then the first thing I do in the night meditation, because then I do also other the morning meditation, but in the night meditation, it's like I can see a movie in my eyes passing by. So from the morning till the end. And okay, if I want to do it faster, I will just focus on the highlights of the day. And I will check about, okay, the intelligence for me, the intelligence side means, or the mind side is, how did I talk today? How did I express myself outside? How did I communicate to the others? Was I critic? Was I kind? And for every of these three factors, I don't know if you can see here. Anyway, this is hieroglyphic Egyptian, but I put mental body today and tomorrow. Because, okay, first I do this meditation and I focus on the highlights of the day. So how did I communicate outside? How was my inner dialogue? Did I feel joy, happiness? Was I stressed? Was I fearful? And why? Did I use my time wisely? Did I procrastinate? Did I take care of my body correctly? Did I exercise? Did I have fun? I am going to share with you these questions in the next slides. But then I open my eyes and I start to note down, okay, first today. So for each of these three things, I will write today. Okay, today, let's take the example of today. Today, for example, on the willpower, I could wake up earlier. I didn't wake up as early as I wanted. And then, for example, mentally, I could communicate better to my family. I use some bad words even for fun, but I want to improve that. I'm just doing an example of what I'm going to write tonight. Then emotionally was a fine day, so I'm quite happy. I could do things in advance, more in advance, so not to arrive at the last minute of the event to prepare things, for example. And this is what happens today. And then on the other side, I just on the bottom of what happened today, I write down, okay, what I want to do tomorrow. So I take what I've done today and I will just put the improvement version. It's like a sort of advanced to-do list for the next day. So tomorrow I want to wake up 10 minutes earlier. I want to avoid to stay in bed 10 minutes doing nothing and thinking too much in the bed. I want to stand up straight away, for example. So it's the way it works. A good agenda works if you write everything in a positive way. It never works. If you say don't eat bad, it's like you're saying to your brain eat bad. It's like the famous game, like don't think about a pink elephant. You will think about your brain doesn't take in consideration, understands the negation. So always write down the objectives you want in a positive way. Let me see the next slide if I put down, okay. Okay, will and physical body. So I'm going to give you point by point what you can do. This is like a daily routine, and then some questions you can use for your willpower. And then we can do a synthesis of what you can actually write in Fantastic Daily Journal. So in the beginning, I wanted to tell you why to do it and what are the results, what are the outcomes you can get by doing, entering this self-continuous improvement. And now we go in detail to see how we can do it. So there are many things, there are many tools and many spiritual practices. For me, it must be simple and enjoyable. Otherwise, I will get bored and I don't want to do it anymore. And very important, how is triggered my motivation? The motivation is triggered because I've seen that the moment I'm working on myself, like the way I'm saying, every day I wake up, it's like I'm saying, fantastic, another day that I'm going to be challenged and I can improve myself. It's like a game. I see every day it's a sort of game. And where every day it's a video game, for those of you who played video games. It's like, what's going to happen today? And let me see if I can improve my communication, for example. Let me see if I can push harder when I do workout. Let me see if I can feel more stable when I'm attacked from some unexpected event. And I see it as a sort of game. And then at the end, the night is, even though I don't achieve all the things that I wanted to get, I will just do to myself, okay, my friend, okay, you did it. You found, if I do some mistake, and I do many, I will not just regret. I will just say, okay, you found a way to know how to not do things. Okay, tomorrow you will do better. And then again, I will ask the help of divine forces to help me. And I've seen that every day, step by step, small steps, most of the times, I found myself doing incredible things. So it really works. And I wrote here, it gives you a soul sparks. It's like, it's really motivation. It's a deeper motivation, because you feel, it's like taking control of your life. It's not, because as I said in the beginning, like we are running without knowing where. And we feel emotions like this. It's like a swing that go from one side to another. And but in this way, so it's like, stop, wait a moment, let's stop the swing again, and let me see, why is the swinging so much? The emotional swing I'm talking about. So it's like you get more control of your life, and you pass from reactivity into proactivity. You get ready to expect the unexpected. And especially in the next future, we are going to be challenging in ways that you can't imagine, and are going to be very tough times in the future. But anyway, you can't prevent things to happen. You can't change external things, as I said, and you can just strengthen yourself. I have many things in my mind for the future to happen. There are many prophecies, and I want to go now into detail. But again, the only thing we can do is to do this work. And actually, spiritually talking, I like to mention the Psalm 91. Take note of this Psalm, Psalm 91. Take note of this, and I invite you to read it, because there it's written what happens in the moment you take the effort of doing this self-work every day. At that point, magical forces will help you and guide your steps. What does it mean? That you will activate positive synchronicities, coincidences. coincidences like random coincidences don't exist. Everything comes for a purpose. So the moment you're doing these efforts, your steps will be guided. You will find yourself in the correct place in the correct time. Try to believe. Anyway, this is a routine that I share with you. This is what I do, and I see that it works. Then you can take whatever you want. And I also will suggest, I will send you an email with the bibliography where you can find this information. Very important thing during our life is being conscious. Conscious why? Because if you notice whenever you get angry or you do silly things, you weren't in you. It's like you lost control. We say we lost control. What does it mean? Someone else took the control over us, but this is another story. But anyway, why do we lose control? Because we're not in ourselves. We are not conscious of what we are saying or what we are doing. And this is very important. So an exercise to train and improve our willpower and taking control of our consciousness is starting from the beginning in a proper way, which means I wake up. Don't wake up too late. And very important, don't stay, not to stay too long in bed after you wake up, because then you will access to what is called the astral world, the world of dreams. But those are the fake dreams, lower level dreams, where basic instincts can be triggered, something like sexuality, anger, sadness, and so on and so on and so on. So the moment you wake up, that's it, unless it's 3 o'clock at night. So maybe in that case, you still have time to go into a deeper sleep. Then the first thing you do, and this is another exercise, but again, this is a daily challenge, take it as a game. The first thing is to open the eyes consciously in the moment you wake up. It's not easy at all, but then it will be the first very good step you can do. And you will see how fun it is. Tomorrow you can write to me, oh, Lorenzo, I managed. Please send me an email if you manage tomorrow to open your eyes consciously when you wake up. Second thing, gratitude check. I open my eyes consciously and say, in the moment I do it, I say, thank you. And I feel gratitude. I do a check, okay, I have my arms, I can breathe, I have a roof, I have everything, I have a family, and so on and so on. Even if you just be grateful for life, if you can breathe. Focus on the good things that you have. And even the challenge that you have now in your life, you should be grateful for those as well, because these can be transformed into gold, as we said. And then a very quick gratitude check. Don't stay in bed 3 hours to be grateful so much, otherwise it will be an excuse to be lazy. And then first step, again, and a consciousness exercise. Put first your right foot on the floor. It might sound silly. This is an exoteric white magic thing. Why the right first? Because first the right represents the brain, the rational part, the wisdom. So first should go the wisdom, and then the love. Why wisdom first and then love? Isn't love more important than wisdom? No, both are important. The thing is that love is blind, so it can take you to a precipice and you can fall down. That's why you also need the light of wisdom and the warmth of love. So take a first step with consciousness. And then, if you like, I strongly suggest to do some exercise, like take care of your body. This is the only body you have in this life. Are you taking care of it? Are you eating bad? Are you eating good? Are you exercising? It's very important now they say that there is a strong pandemic, but nobody is really talking so much about the prevention, how taking care about our body. We're talking only about the cure, but before getting to the cure, the one of the best cure is taking care in advance of our. If we eat bad every day, if we don't take the fresh air outside, if we don't eat probably, of course the disease will come. It's like if I put a bad gasoline into my car, of course the results, the car won't work anymore so well. So exercise for me can be, I personally do some workout. You can find many YouTube videos about that. If you want, then you can write me in private. I can suggest some. But even just walking outside, if you can, if you're not really locked down at the moment. Or I like jumping jacks. It's like you jump and you move your arms for 1 minute. Just take 1 minute and it will activate the metabolism. I'm not going now more in the physiological detail, but activating the metabolism in the first time in the morning will help you to transform better the food you're going to eat later. It will help throughout all the day. So take some, even 5 minutes. There are many YouTube videos of full body exercise for 5 minutes. Is it worth it to spend 5 minutes on your health? Then again, if you don't have time for your health, you will have time for disease. I'm sorry, I say it, but take care of your body. And then, okay, for those of you, I like to have a shower in the first morning, as it's a sort, I've created a sort of ritual. And again, I start with warm water to avoid a sort of conflict between the external and the internal. And I ask to the water, please help me to purify my physical body and my etherical body. The etherical body is the energetic, magnetic field, the electricity around our body. So I ask the water, even if you think that water are not entities, but we have seen that the moment we are talking to the water, if you put a sort of speaker, sound speaker next to the water, it will vibrate in a sort of way. So if I vibrate in a certain way, also the water will have a different effect on myself. So if I'm talking to the water and say, please help me to purify myself, then I close my eyes and I imagine a shower of light coming and curing, feeling joy, happiness, wisdom, purity in the heart, every day, every day, every day, every day, even if what I'm saying is not scientifically true and never will be, but if you believe it, then it will be true. This is a truth. So exercise, conscious shower, and then what I personally do at the last part of the shower, that doesn't last that long, otherwise then you feel too fluffy, I will completely change the water from warm to cold, extreme cold. Just the time to say this alchemical formula. The formula is, I am stable, son of stable, born and conceived in the kingdom of stability. I am stable, son of stable, born and conceived in the kingdom of stability. And I repeat it 3 times. This is an alchemical magic formula. And the stability is like being able to expect the unexpected and be able to face the daily challenge. So with these words, again, even if you don't believe in magic, doesn't matter. You can believe in the fact that the placebo effect. You can find a lot of medical literature about that. If you believe in something, it becomes your truth. And also your cells, your body. You can even cure cancers from that. There are many, 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 many cases in medical literature about that. I'm not now saying to not use medicine and just believe. I'm just saying that this can help a lot in doing a lot of stuff. So if you repeat to yourself every day, This water is going to purify and to cure me. This water, please, I'm stable, son of stable. And you'd say it loud. If you have a partner or other friends close to you, don't be too loud, otherwise they will call the ambulance. But then it will be your truth. And your brain will believe it. And then the second formula I say is, io sono puro, and I am pure. I am pure, I am pure, as the phoenix of Heliopolis. This is another alchemical formula. It's like, I am pure, I am pure, I am pure, like the phoenix of Heliopolis. Now we don't have the time to talk about the phoenix of Heliopolis. You can do your own research, but you can also say that I am pure, I am pure, I am pure. Again, it's a self incantation. Then after the shower, it's already 12 o'clock. No, I'm joking. You have to be fast. And then I do a short meditation. And the meditation is like taking back what I planned the night after and say, okay, today is my best day to be the best day. It's the perfect day to be a perfect day. And sometimes I think of what I'm going to do during the day. Sometimes I just stop and stop my thoughts. If I can stop my thoughts, I will just repeat within myself: love, wisdom, patience, healing, joy. There are many ingredients. You can choose according to your mood. And if you can't stop your thought, concentrate on a single word: perfection, love, wisdom, and repeat it. Otherwise, if you can control your thought, put some classical music and follow the flow. I usually don't spend more than 5-7 minutes. Then I also do a gymnastic, but I can talk about that another time, like similar to the Tibetan steps. And so this routine takes me about 1 hour, sometimes less, depends, but I wake up very early. And actually, another thing that I can tell you, many people need to sleep 8 hours, 9 hours, 7 hours. Before I needed to sleep 8 hours. Now I can, normally in the past years, I've been sleeping like 6 hours and I was completely fine and with a lot of energy. We need to sleep to purify our body, but also we go out from our body to purify our mind, emotion, and so on and so on. So if you purify yourself every day and every day, you need less hour of sleep. So anyway, just saying that I use that time now, the extra 2 hours of life every day. It's a lot. Instead of 8 hours, 6 hours, 2 days, 2 hours per day for 1 year. It's many hours. It's 830 hours of not 800, sorry. Okay, twice 365. Anyway, breakfast you eat consciously, and I'm going to explain in next events the Hrani Yoga, which means the yoga of the nutrition. So eat consciously instead of just taking things again. Before taking the first, I don't have anything to eat here. Okay, I will eat paper. You can smell the food, especially if you have a good fruit. You smell it, you connect to the fruit, you are grateful, and then you take a consideration that this is something external that is transformed alchemically into your life. It's amazing. And by this, you can, it's a sort of, we call it Catholic do the communion. It's like, which is something you can do every day. They take a piece of white bread and they eat it. You can do it every day with every kind of food. And it's actually communion, means communion with all the universe. I'm taking something that comes from a tree, an apple, for example, and it's transformed into blood, into nutrients from my body. It's amazing. We just skip this sacred moment every day by running and not being conscious. So this is very important, but we need 3 hours just to talk about breakfast, no, about nutrition. And then during all the day, how can you be conscious? Another trick is to control objects. Before I used to throw things like this and so on, or without taking care. Now, even if I have to open a page or something, it's not that I'm going slower. I'm just more careful how I move things, because I can easily spot if someone is has a mess inside his brain or emotional inside his life. I can see it very quickly from the way they move. If the people are just like throwing objects, leaving windows open, this means that probably they have a mess inside. If you have a big mess in your in your house, probably means that you're not really organized inside most of the times. I don't want to generalize, but anyway, if you cannot control a fork when you, or a spoon when you are having breakfast, when you are eating, how can you think to control your thoughts when you will have negative thoughts, for example? So start from the outside, and then slowly it will be interiorized. But then we will talk more in another event about this. And then I wrote, make order and clean. Again, this is very important. It's a Zen exercise. Clean your house, put order in your room, because probably this when I don't invite me at home, because then I can see a lot of stuff from the way you put objects, like if you have a real mess, again, you can understand a lot about the person. It can be that it's very creative, but maybe can improve some things. And I'm not talking about like a really very rigid order, but harmony is the key. And these are some questions. I will make myself smaller. I like to be inside the presentation. Sorry. These are some questions that you can ask yourself before going to sleep. Like, did I use my time wisely? Did I do the things that I wanted to do today? How can I do better tomorrow? How can I treat my body better tomorrow? How can I eat better tomorrow? So emotional body, I'm going very fast because we are almost there to the end. I will stay here for hours with you, but you probably won't stay here with me for hours. So unfortunately, we have to do this online stuff. It's really a pity. What am I grateful for? How was my emotional status today? So this is something I write down in my emotional body. I don't know if you can see it. And tomorrow and today. So during the night, I take note of, okay, was I feeling sad? Was I feeling good or bad? I write the quality of my emotions. And then, this is for today. And then I write down, okay, what can I do for better tomorrow? On the specific, for example, did I fear something today? Was there an event that triggered my I don't know, sadness, anger, fear? And then I go to find the root cause. Again, it's like alert. There is a product in the production that came out bad today. Let's see, what is the root cause? Root cause means, okay, understand, taking in consideration that we are responsible for our emotions, I can check. Okay, today I was afraid. I felt fear because I had an exam. Okay, it's fine to have to be afraid. Lorenzo, don't worry. I encourage myself. Don't worry. It's fine to be afraid. Sometimes if you have an exam, it's right. But why you were afraid? Because you didn't study enough before, and because you didn't prepare sufficiently in advance before, because you did all the things at the last moment. And so, okay, how can you do better? Okay, next time prepare in advance. Remember this time, use this fear that you had to push you next time to do better, to prepare in advance, to study more, to not to procrastinate. So again, I take this lead of fear and I transform it into something better for the next time. Now I gave just an example. It can be anger. Okay, today I was angry because that person told me that. And then I go to see, what did he or she say? She say, okay, it probably touched some, I wasn't stable. So it means that there is a part of me that is still uncovered, that I have there is something that still triggers me. It can be many times, if I understand that people can be stupid sometimes outside, so sometimes it's about accepting things, or sometimes, and many times, the person probably didn't express her or himself correctly, but the message, there was a truth in that message that I can use to improve. Unfortunately, this is not a public event, I mean a live event. Otherwise here there would have been a discussion with examples from you. But sorry, I have to find a better way. First, I will go back home. I'm already at home actually. I will go to bed today, and I will take note of this, how to manage better the time of next events, for example. And I will create a strategy to improve. Mental body, I link to the mental body the way especially the way I communicate outside. So how is my speech outside? Am I kind when I talk, or am I too critical when I talk to the others? I'm too harsh, or am I negative? And then I also ask these questions with myself. How was my inner dialogue? How can I improve it? So I first write down, okay, this is the analysis of today. These are the facts. And tomorrow, how can I do better? And I write down a concrete examples of what I can do tomorrow. So for example, I will start to think to the next event, and I will set down deadlines about how can I manage the time better next time. And I will write down a strategy. And how can I improve my communication? How can I improve this way of interacting online, for example? And never say I have failed. I will also say I've not yet succeeded. It's very important in this process that you don't criticize yourself. Again, see yourself as a sort of scientist. This is the day that has passed by, and you look at it and you say, okay, this can be improved. Don't say like this was wrong, this is bad. No? I say this can be improved. This is improved. This is a challenge. I think I have to think about how to solve this situation. And many problems that I used to call them challenges and not anymore problems, if we keep them in this abstract world of mind, it's very hard to solve a mathematical equation, for example, with the mind. Write down things, and then even sometimes problems seem very, very big, but if you write them down and you go and see, okay, what can I do here? You go to, how do you say, decompose the equation and take the incognitas and the different factors, and you see, okay, this, I can do that, and that. It becomes very, very easier to solve even the worst challenge. And sometimes the best solution is accepting things, but this is in the worst case. Or sometimes, okay, this is, I will open another discussion. Some problems, okay, it's about, probably wasn't a problem. It's myself that I have to change most of the time. So instead of changing again the situation outside, it's like, how can I change to get over that thing? Because again, today I was speaking to a friend and he said, okay, but I cannot really change my habit if I don't change my environment. And I said, it's true that changing the environment will help you to change your habits. Of course, if I'm surrounded by scientists, spiritualists, and masters, I will be pushed very, very strongly into an improvement, incredible improvement. But probably if I'm not in this circle of very, very wise people, it's because I'm not that wise first, and still because by seeing what I don't like in others, I'm learning about myself. I always like the Kai Gibran quote that say, I learned the silence about the very talkative people. I learned respect by people who didn't respect others, and so on and so on and so on. So that's why if we are surrounded, if we are in an environment we don't like, let's check first before changing it. I'm not saying not to change it, but before doing it, Even like many times people want to change partner. But before doing it, take one moment to say, okay, what am the universe want to teach me or show me with this person? Do a sort of, use it as a sort of mirror. Look into yourself and say, okay, what can I learn? What can I change? What can I improve? Have I done my best to improve myself? Because the moment you improve yourself, the moment you change, people outside you change. People will want change if you tell them to change. Will only follow your example. Then there is also a question of vibration. Anyway, I stop here. Another trick and tip I can give you that I found out today, actually, that it's something that is used by many coaches. It's using visual cues. I hope the pronunciation is correct. I found out that this works because I didn't know that there was actually a scientific explanation of how this is helping the motivation. But for my workout, I was using something very easy, like doing, every time I was doing a workout, I was doing a line on a blackboard. So day 1, day 2, day 3, sorry, the other side, day 4. And okay, I was creating sort of squares and putting them on a calendar. And it's like I was feeling, I was feeling happy that I was feeling a sort of chain done by these little squares. Probably there is still online Ivana who came to my place and saw that kind of stuff on the blackboard. And it's nice because once you create these little visual cues like this, it's like you don't want to stop to increase this chain. It sounds silly, but this is the same reason why in the men toilet they put a black fly. I don't know if you know that. Probably it works only with the silly men. I don't know, but it triggers our motivation to take the target. So our brain is actually really helped. Our motivation is helped by using this sort of technique. So, for example, you can use this for workout or for meditation. Like every day you put a line on your calendar, say, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. And this, the more you go on, the more you will feel proud of yourself, of your success. And another thing that I suggest is using post-it. There should be a book like The Power of Post-its. I had my my apartment full of post-its with sometimes very long stuff to remember about specific thing. Also, I had one in front of the entrance door. Before going out, it was written like a smile, take the joy within you, be the best example. And then in the toilet, I had something like, this is live this life, this day as it was your last day, and so on and so on and so on. Everywhere. Of course, if you live with others, maybe you need to negotiate before doing it. But trust me, it really helps a lot. Okay, then there are a lot of to change a bad habits. Again, the one of the best thing is again the alchemical joint with the divine entities. But it's important, and that's why in this example I wrote, okay, what is the things that I've done today, and it must be transformed into something positive you can do tomorrow. Because again, as I said in the beginning, you cannot destroy things, you can only transform them. So you can take a bad habit and you should change it into something good. For example, I had an addiction for social media, Facebook, and so on, because I read a lot of news and information. So I'm always checking news and information and books and articles, astrology, alchemy, and so on and so on, which is something good. And my brain is really, it's like cocaine. It's really a very strong drug. The problem is that then at the end of the year, I spent, I don't want even to know how many hours on the telephone. It was really an addiction. And the information I got were very superficial. If all the hundreds of hours that I wasted on the phone were used on reading books, now my knowledge would have been bigger. So it's really an addiction. There are really scientific proofs that this is addicting because it's stimulating our brain, as it is a sugar, because we want to. Okay, now don't go into detail, but just the fact of scrolling and looking for things, it's like giving a sort of pleasure. And also the updating with the scrolling, by scrolling, it's releasing some hormones that gives us happiness, because we expect a sort of reward every time. And that reward is always reinforced time by time, and that's why you get addicted to smartphones. So how to you have to substitute. I cannot. You cannot only use the willpower. So first thing I said, okay, I don't do it only for me. I do it also because I have this strong ideal to want to help others. So I will use this time more wisely, not only for myself, but also for the others. Second, it's not intelligent what I'm doing, because the results that I get are less than if I read a book, for example. Third, I will substitute, instead of reading social media and so on, for example, now I downloaded ebooks, and instead of watching social media, I'm reading books every time I feel tempted to look at social media. And as these books are not as funny as the social media, I'm going to leave it slowly. I'm no longer interested in this. And also, I had an exam at the university, another thing, like I wrote it here probably, like change your environment. It means if you have a big piece of chocolate in front of you all the day, you probably will be tempted to eat it. If you take it far from you, it will help. So, for example, I used to go to the library and I left my phone in the library to be. This is an example. You can find your way to transform. That's why writing down bad habits, for example, I don't eat very good in a good way, or I don't eat good food. So try to see something that can be enjoyable for you, because if it's more sad, it's not going to work. And then another thing is join forces with somebody. And there is something important that I want to tell you. I would like to create a sort of circle of friends, spiritual friends, with whom we can exchange more. Okay, I really don't like this way I'm talking and without feedback. I would love to share more. So I will invite you in I think the second weekend of January into a circle event where we can share our way of writing a journal. We can share how we are taking our daily continuous improvement in our life, how we are applying this. And we will share about the first 12 days of the year. I will tell you more in just 1 second. Let me see here if I, okay. So I go back to the first slide. Okay, before closing this conversation, that actually was a monologue, and I'm sorry about that. I have to find a better way to do events more interactive. Last thing is, okay, to recap everything, every day, do a check on your body, emotion, body, heart, willpower, and mental body, emotional body, physical body, which includes also the willpower. Write down what you've done today and plan for the day ahead in a positive way. Then in the Alchemical Journal, what I also write is achievements, special achievements that I had during the day. someday you have big achievements, you want to write them down. And then I also write something for the gratitude. So I put a spot for the gratitude of the day. I've been grateful and specific, okay, for everything as usual, but also in the specific for this stuff. And then I put a space also for intuitions and ideas. So this is also sometimes you have some insights, some intuition, you want to write them down. It's good, otherwise you will lose them. And also I put a space about dreams, if you have any special dream. It's useful then to go back and to read it. Sometimes it can be also a premonition for the future. Then I also write synchronicities, if I had specific synchronicities, coincidences, spiritual coincidences that wanted to teach me something. And then the last point will be contribution. What have I done today for the others? This is something that I use every day. And if I can't sometimes, doesn't matter. I will doing it again the next day. So again, don't be too harsh on yourself. And for me, again, it's keeping in mind this word, perfection, but without being perfectionist, like in an extreme way, fanatic way. But perfection is like doing efforts every day to improve, and living every day as a sort of game or of full of challenge, where you are in a school where everything happens is for your evolution. Before closing the call, I want to share with you that something regarding the Kabbalah, even if you don't believe in Kabbalah. It's regarding the first 12 days of the year. Okay, this is a moment where you can take a moment also to do a check analysis of this past year and see what you have done, what are the achievements you have done, and what are the things you want to improve. Anyway, it's believed in the Kabbalah that the first 12 days of the years correspond to the 12 months of the year. So it means that the 1st of January will correspond to January. The 2nd of January will correspond to February. The 3rd to March, the 4th to April, and so on and so on and so on. Originally, according to the Kabbalah, this was starting after the 21st of March, with the beginning of Aries. For Steiner, this Rudolf Steiner, these 12 days start on the 25th of December. But I've been trying this, and psychologically, for us, the beginning of the year is not the 25th of December, is not the 21st of March. For this part of the world, the 1st of the year is the 1st of January. So do the effort to live every day at the best you can, because the way you will live every of these days will correspond to the quality of your month. And also you can have some sort of, do you call them premonition? Like you can see a sort of in the future. For example, this year, it's very important to write down a lot of details regarding the first 12 days of the year. Last year, for example, on the 9th of January, I went back to Luxembourg because I was in Bilbao, I was in Spain. But on the 9th of January, I went to Luxembourg. On the 10th, I did, no, it was on the 10th. It was on the 10th of January. And then I stayed for the weekend. So it was 10th, 11th, and 12th. I was in Luxembourg for doing events and to participate in a friend's birthday. Actually, the 10th was October. And in October, actually, I came to Luxembourg. And I'm still in Luxembourg. And it's the December. So, and there are many things I wrote down that actually then happened in the month, in the respective month. I hope I explained myself well and you understood. If you have any question, please feel free. But again, very, very important. Live your first 12 days the best way you can and take note of everything, because then in April, for example, you will go and check what happened on the 4th. You will get, you will have some hints of what will go on in that month. And I will invite you to share about these first days of the year. I will invite you to a circle event this time. Well, I will not be the only one talking. I will invite you on the 10th of January to share about this and to share about your tips and to share about your journaling and to share, like, again, how to your experience on getting rid of bad habits, how to become the best alchemist that can transform all the lead into gold.